Kenny Lattimore has finally broken his silence, and what he just revealed about Judge Faith Jenkins has fans stunned, supporters divided, and the internet on fire. From a picture-perfect romance to whispers of control, career shifts, and emotional silence, was it all just smoke and mirrors? Buckle up, because what you thought you knew about their marriage is about to be shattered. When Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins first went public with their relationship, they seemed like the embodiment of black love done right, elegant, accomplished, and deeply in tune with each other. From heartfelt interviews to glowing social media posts, the couple painted a picture of unwavering devotion. But as the months turned into years, sharp-eyed fans began noticing cracks beneath the polished surface. Subtle changes, missing rings, vague captions, signs that maybe, just maybe, all wasn't as perfect as it appeared. In today's video, we're diving deep into the truth behind Kenny Lattimore's recent bombshell revelations and what they could mean for his seemingly flawless union with Judge Faith. We'll explore the timeline of their relationship, examine the red flags fans have pointed out for years, and break down Kenny's rare and powerful words that exposed a very different side of their marriage. We're not here to gossip, we're here to unpack the truth behind the headlines. And as always, we'll back it all up with receipts, interviews, and behind-the-scenes insights. Stay tuned, because what's coming next might just change how you see this couple forever. At first glance, the romance between Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins felt like something out of a modern-day fairy tale. He, a Grammy-nominated R&B singer known for soulful love ballads like For You, a song played at countless weddings. She, a former prosecutor, legal analyst, and television judge known for her intelligence, grace, and no-nonsense attitude on shows like Judge Faith and Divorce Court. Their union felt purposeful, like two highly successful individuals merging their lives in love, legacy, and leadership. They tied the knot in 2020 in an elegant ceremony that featured close friends and family, and the internet lit up with admiration. Fans praised how refreshing it was to see two accomplished black figures unite in what looked like a God-made love story. On paper, they checked all the boxes: faith-driven, ambitious, articulate, and seemingly drama-free. Together, they projected an image of black excellence that many aspire to. But what if the love story that looked so flawless on Instagram wasn't entirely authentic? Behind the scenes, in interviews early in their marriage, Kenny often praised Judge Faith's brilliance and how she challenged him to grow. Likewise, Judge Faith spoke about how Kenny brought calmness and compassion into her high-paced life. But while these sentiments sounded beautiful, they began to feel rehearsed. The chemistry, some argued, looked more like that of two polished public figures maintaining an image rather than an impassioned, intimate partnership. And then came the whispers. Fans noticed the couple began appearing less and less together on red carpets and social media. Holiday posts were delayed, birthdays went unmentioned, and when Faith stopped wearing her wedding ring in several public appearances, social media exploded with speculation. Could it have been a busy schedule, or was there something deeper going on? Stay with me, because in the next section, we're going to unpack the cryptic comments Kenny Lattimore made in a recent podcast that have everyone wondering. Was he silently crying out for help all along, or did he just decide to finally tell his truth? Let's talk about that next. In today's age, public figures rarely go on the record with messy details. They know that a single misstep, a hint of vulnerability, or even a slightly raised eyebrow in an interview can spark a viral firestorm. But sometimes, the truth finds its way out, not in screaming headlines, but in subtle revelations. And that's exactly what happened when Kenny Lattimore appeared on a well-known relationship and spirituality podcast just months ago. At first, the interview was exactly what fans expected: polished, thoughtful, calm. Kenny spoke about his latest music, fatherhood, and his personal journey toward emotional maturity. But when the host asked him about how marriage had changed his perspective, his tone shifted. Kenny said, "Love is a beautiful thing, but it only works when both people are willing to peel back their layers, not just for the public, but behind closed doors. Sometimes we get caught up in appearances and forget to check in on each other's reality." That line hit hard. The host, clearly intrigued, pressed in gently, "Do you feel like you were fully seen in your last relationship?" Kenny hesitated. He gave a slight laugh, the kind people give when they're deciding whether to be diplomatic. Those words may not have been a direct accusation, but they sent shockwaves through listeners who knew his only high-profile relationship in recent years was with Judge Faith. For someone who had always been publicly supportive, loyal, and even protective of his wife, this felt like a crack in the carefully constructed image. It was the first time Kenny Lattimore had hinted, however subtly, that the love story might not have been as idyllic as it appeared. Even more eyebrow-raising, he went on to talk about the importance of creating a safe space in relationships, not just for the show, but for real, honest healing. He said, "A relationship is not a brand. It's not something you design for press releases or likes. And when it starts to feel like a performance, you have to ask yourself, am I being loved, or am I being used?" That was heavy. Was he accusing Judge Faith of using him for image or social capital? Not directly. But when you consider that their marriage had been almost immediately turned into a public-facing brand, complete with interviews, shared Instagram lives, motivational quotes, and even discussions of writing books together, it becomes hard to ignore the subtext of his words. But the real bombshell came when one of Kenny's close friends, a music producer who chose to remain anonymous, spoke up about what really went on behind the scenes. According to this source, tensions had been brewing for months, particularly around the couple's brand and image. Allegedly, there were disagreements about the portrayal of their marriage, control over public narratives, and the constant pressure to maintain a perfect facade. Next, we're diving into what this producer claimed about the unraveling of their brand, the moments that shattered their perfect image, and how Kenny is now redefining his legacy, free from the constraints of public perception. You won't want to miss it. Producer who's collaborated with Kenny for years and asked to remain anonymous revealed that red flags started waving as early as 6 months into the marriage. In the beginning, he said Kenny was glowing, genuinely excited, writing new love songs, and constantly talking about how blessed he felt. But somewhere along the way, that excitement started to dim. According to this insider, Kenny began pulling back from collaborations and live performances without a clear explanation. When asked why, he simply said, "I've got a lot on my plate right now. Marriage is a whole other level." But it wasn't the usual married life adjustment kind of comment. It had weight to it, like a man trying to hold it all together while something underneath was quietly crumbling. The producer claimed that during one late-night studio session, Kenny opened up and said, "I feel like I'm trying to love someone who's more in love with her image than with me." Now, that's a bold thing to admit about someone as powerful and media-savvy as Judge Faith. But the insider didn't stop there. He continued, there were times Kenny would show up at the studio looking like he hadn't slept in days, and he never wanted to talk badly about her, but the silence said enough. Another source, a stylist who had worked with the couple for a public appearance, shared a moment that stuck with her. She described a tense backstage exchange at a red carpet event where Judge Faith allegedly snapped at Kenny for deviating from a pre-planned talking point during a live interview. According to the stylist, Judge Faith leaned in and said through gritted teeth, "This is why we rehearse things. You're making us look unprepared." While that moment didn't make it to the cameras, it reportedly left Kenny stunned and quiet for the rest of the night. The stylist added, "He looked like he wanted to disappear." Now, look, we can't confirm everything these insiders say, but when multiple people in different circles paint similar pictures of quiet, emotional suppression and image control, it becomes hard to dismiss it all as gossip, especially when Kenny's own public tone has shifted so dramatically. And here's where things get really interesting. While most of the public assumed they were still blissfully married, certain clues began to emerge, subtle changes on social media, cryptic captions, missing wedding rings, fewer joint appearances. These weren't accidental, they were the soft exits we often see in celebrity relationships before the bomb officially drops. But what exactly were those clues? What did fans notice before the media caught on? And was Judge Faith responding in her own cryptic way? We're about to break down the digital trail that may have exposed the real story before anyone even realized it. Stick around for the next chapter. You don't want to miss this. In the age of Instagram stories and Twitter subtext, breakups don't always start with press releases. They begin with silence, unfollows, and missing wedding rings. And when it comes to Kenny Lattimore and Judge Faith Jenkins, The digital breadcrumbs told a story long before the headlines ever did. Let's rewind to mid-2023. Fans of the couple, who were once known for their beautifully curated posts celebrating Black love, began noticing a strange shift. The once frequent joint photos stopped altogether. The heartwarming anniversary posts? Nowhere to be found. It was almost as if someone had hit the pause button on their public affection, and people definitely noticed. One fan tweeted, "Why haven't Kenny and Judge Faith posted each other in months? Something feels off." At first, most people brushed it off. After all, celebrities get busy. But then came the ringless appearances. Judge Faith showed up to a red carpet event solo in August without her wedding ring and without so much as a mention of Kenny. Meanwhile, Kenny attended a charity gala in Atlanta and avoided relationship questions altogether, keeping his answers strictly professional. Now, if you follow celebrity culture, you know the missing ring is often the first big clue that something deeper is going on. But that wasn't the only thing. Let's talk about Instagram, the platform where lovebirds show off their couple goals and where silence screams louder than words. Between 2021 and 2022, Kenny and Judge Faith regularly shared couple selfies, motivational quotes about love, behind-the-scenes clips of their life together, and even musical dedications from Kenny to his wife. But by fall of 2023, the posts dried up. Entire captions that once referenced each other mysteriously disappeared, and older couple photos were quietly archived or deleted. Then came the cryptic quotes. In October, Judge Faith posted a photo of herself with the caption, "Sometimes silence isn't empty, it's full of answers." Fans immediately flooded the comments with speculation. Is everything okay with you and Kenny? Girl, blink twice if you're single. Not long after, Kenny posted a moody black and white video playing the piano with a quote that read, "Healing is a process, don't rush it." That post alone was shared over 20,000 times across Twitter and Facebook, not just because of the emotional weight, but because fans knew something had shifted. Behind the glitz and glamour of a high-profile marriage, there were two people with fundamentally different views on love and partnership. Both at the pinnacle of their careers, insiders whispered that their divergent paths, shaped by demanding schedules, public personas, and clashing visions for the future, began to unravel long before anyone realized. Faith, a powerhouse in the world of television, law, and public speaking, was laser-focused on expanding her brand. Meanwhile, Kenny, a musician still active in the industry, sought a quieter, more family-centered life away from the spotlight. Despite their love being genuine, their approaches to life, particularly behind closed doors, were growing further apart. But it wasn't just incompatibility. There were whispers of control, power struggles, and the weight of their public images. In late 2023, a viral blind item on a celebrity gossip site hinted that a prominent female legal expert was frustrated with her husband's lack of ambition and his refusal to dive into joint business ventures. While no names were mentioned, fans quickly connected the dots, with some even recalling a subtle moment during a past interview where Kenny joked about Faith's structured personality, only for her to awkwardly brush it off. That moment, seemingly insignificant at the time, now feels loaded with meaning given the circumstances surrounding their apparent split. And then, there were the rumors of family interference. Marriage, after all, doesn't exist in a vacuum. A Reddit thread from early 2024 suggested tensions with one of Faith's close family members, citing clashes over lifestyle choices, expectations around children, and even icy encounters at family events. But the plot thickens. Sources close to the couple claimed a major turning point occurred off-camera, at a private industry gala in New York. Kenny and Faith were allegedly seen leaving separately, Faith visibly upset. This matchup of timeline and social media silence only deepened the speculation. Then came the most explosive rumor of all, an alleged renegotiation of their prenup. According to a well-known entertainment attorney, Kenny had reportedly pushed for changes to their marital agreement, something Faith, a seasoned attorney herself, was reportedly unwilling to entertain. Could this financial dispute have been the final blow? None of these claims have been confirmed by either Kenny or Faith, but when you piece together the disappearing Instagram posts, the ringless public appearances, and the growing distance between them, it's hard to ignore the mounting evidence. Still, both remained tight-lipped, until Kenny broke his silence, sending the internet into a frenzy. As the dust begins to settle, what can we truly take away from this whirlwind romance turned heartache? From the red carpet smiles to the quiet unraveling in front of our eyes, this relationship serves as a stark reminder of how fragile even the most seemingly perfect marriages can be. Whether it was the pressures of fame, deep-seated incompatibilities, or the silent weight of unmet expectations, something behind the scenes snapped. And now, it's all coming to light. In his recent statements, Kenny admitted that not everything was as it seemed and hinted at feeling overlooked in the relationship. His vulnerability, without placing blame, struck a chord with fans. But Faith has yet to respond. Some say silence is power, while others believe it's a way to avoid accountability. Regardless, the silence leaves one burning question. Behind every celebrity couple is a real relationship, full of real struggles. In the age of social media perfection, sometimes the truth is the most shocking story of all.